Call the meeting to order. Oh, are you good? Yes. Please rise for the flag salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. Welcome to the January 6th Rutherford Board of Education reorg meeting. The New Jersey Public Meetings Act was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this act, the Rutherford Board of Education has caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place posted on the bulletin board outside the Borough Clerk's office, mailed to the Herald, South Bergenite, and Record newspapers, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Hard copies of the agenda are available in the meeting room, and the agenda is posted electronically on Friday before the meeting date on the district's website at rutherfordschools.org. Subsequent to this meeting, a video of the meeting will be uploaded to the district's website at rutherfordschools.org. The video link can be found by opening the Board of Education link and clicking on Public Meetings and then Videos. As your board secretary, I'll be administering the meeting until we nominate and vote on a new board president, and that board president will then take the chair and conduct the meeting after. First order, as normal, are approval of minutes from our previous meeting on December 2nd. Can I have a motion to approve those? Mr. Bogosian, second. Mrs. Jones?
Roll call.
Sure, roll call. Mr. Conti?
What's that?
Do we have a roll call on this?
No, we just
okay.
We don't do.
By
we don't do.
acclamation.
We don't do roll call.
not for the minutes.
Right, got it.
A review of the results of the annual school election held on November 5th, 2024. The election was for 3 unexpired seats for a 3-year term. Sergio Alati received 5,643 votes. Christina Cole received 6,317 votes. Greg Racine received 5,188 votes, and then there were personal choices of 172. So the 3 elected officials are Mr. Alati, Ms. Cole, and Dr. Racine. I'll administer the oath to those 3 individuals in a moment. They'll hold up their right hand and repeat after me with administering your oath. And then once that happens, you can then take your seats alongside your other board members.
Appreciate you.
I, Sergio Alati,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same
and that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
and to the governments established in the United States and this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I, state your name,
I, Sergio Alati,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
that I possess the qualifications prescribed by law
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
for the office of member of the Board of Education,
and that I will faithfully,
and that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform all duties of that office,
and justly perform all duties of that office
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Welcome back to the Board of Education.
Thank you.
Now I'll take roll call for the full board. Mr. Bogosian,
Present.
Mrs. Cole,
Present.
Mr. Conti,
Present.
Mr. Healy, Mrs. Jones,
Present.
Mr. Maison,
Present.
Dr. Racine,
Here.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Present.
Dr. Alati.
Here.
We have a quorum. So again, the board secretary administers the meeting until we nominate and elect a board president. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor to nominations for board president. We don't need a second on the nominations, just a single nomination suffices. Mr. Maison?
I'd like to nominate Dr. Sergio Alati.
Noted. Dr. Alati? Last call for nominations. I'll close the floor to nominations. We have one nomination, Dr. Alati. I do have to take a roll call vote, so an affirmative yes or a negative no will suffice. Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Oh, yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Oh, yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
and Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Congratulations, Dr. Alati, the new board president. Dr. Alati will now take the chair as board president and administer the meeting for the nominations for vice president and the rest of the meeting going forward.
Put your name tag.
Thank you, everyone, for your confidence in me. I would like to see if we have a motion to accept nominations for the office of Vice President for the Board of Education. Mr. Healy, seconded by Mrs. Jones. And now I would like to entertain names to become Vice President of the Board of Education for 2025. Mr. Jones.
Mr. Dennis Maison would be a wonderful vice president.
All right, thank you. Dennis Mazzone has been nominated for Vice President. Any other nominations? All right, seeing none, I'd like to have a motion to close nominations for the office of Vice President. Mr. Bogosian, seconded by Dr. Racine. And,
Just a roll call vote on it.
second.
Roll call vote on it.
Yep. So we're going to have a roll call on Dennis Mazzone becoming the Vice President of the Board of Education effective immediately until the next organization meeting as prescribed by law.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Oh, yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Alati.
Whatever is more emphatic than oh, yes. Yes.
Congratulations,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Maison.
Thank you all very much.
All right, excellent. There is a board meeting schedule that is listed in your board packet. It's a schedule for 2025. All meetings are scheduled for Monday with a 7 p.m. start time. Do you need to approve that? I don't see a motion to approve that, so we don't need to
I
approve
don't remember we had to approve that or not. I
We
think
should approve.
we probably should, just to make it, yeah.
that. All right, any questions or comments about the board meeting schedule? Hearing none, need a motion to approve the board meeting schedule for 2025. Mrs. Cole, seconded by Mr. Conti. Ask Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, excellent. I will turn it over to Mr. Hurley for the report of the superintendent.
Thank you, and Happy New Year, everyone, and congratulations to our re-elected board members and our re-elected president and vice president. I'm looking forward to another year of working with you all. Few things I wanted to review. January 20th, schools are closed for Dr. King, observance of Dr. King's birthday. January 23rd and 24th are the teacher conferences in preschool, pre-K to grade 6. So in those buildings on the 23rd, there's a one-session day for students, and on the 24th, there's no school for students. so that we have parent conferences both in the afternoon and evening of the 23rd and during the day on the 24th. The schedule for middle school and high school doesn't change on those days. We have a finance committee meeting next Monday night, January 13th, at 5:45. That's going to be a non-Google Meet meeting, a live meeting in my office. And at 6:30, the negotiating committee for the board will meet to start to discuss and plan for the REA negotiations. So that's, and we'll be sending out a agenda for the finance committee later this week. And just a reminder to the board's negotiating committee, we don't really have an agenda for that. This meeting is more of a discussion. I want to let policy committee know that I did receive from Strauss Esme right before, in fact, the day that we broke for the holiday break, a packet which I'm reviewing, and I had the administrators, appropriate administrators review, and I'm hoping to get that out to the committee, if not by Friday, by at least early part of next week, so we have time to review it. If there's a need to have any discussion or meeting, we can, and we could, hopefully move the policy ahead at the January 27th meeting. Okay? So be looking for that. I also want to mention to the other committees, and Dr. Alati probably will be mentioning it, that committee assignments for this year will be forthcoming. But for the other committees, in February we will certainly be having another finance committee. That may be early March. We have a calendar that we gave you, but we also will be meeting with Building and Grounds, usually right around that same time, to review with Building and Grounds things that are be going into the budget. We also, I'll be looking to most likely have a strategic planning and perhaps a personnel committee meeting sometime in February as well, to take a look ahead to some things that will be happening in terms of personnel and some strategic changes perhaps in some of the positions as we're moving forward into the next year. So again, I'll try to keep those dates to the dates that I'll be sending you when we send out the committee assignments, potential committee meeting dates on Monday night. But it may come to a point where we have 2 or 3 at the same time. We'll have to decide who can make another night, something like that. So I'll keep you appraised of that. We are going to be going out to bid shortly for the fire alarm system replacement at Lincoln School. Shortly is kind of a loose term. It takes a while. It's a rather extensive bid that has to go out. So we're hoping to get it out by late winter, early spring, so that we can have the work done, maybe starting the school year on late second shift, but certainly have it completed during the summer. So Mr. Whiffer and I met today with Mr. Gamboa and with Paul Dansback to get his insight. We're meeting with the architect. We have a follow-up coming up with that to get this out, because that's a rather extensive and obviously critical project. I'm going to make 2 comments now because the agenda is not that filled with too much stuff. I do want to comment on 2 items on the agenda. The first is tonight the board's going to be asked to accept the retirement of Barbara O'Donnell at the end of this academic year. And we certainly will have more to say about Barbara as the year goes on, but 34 years in district, and I'm pretty sure she's had 20 years in her position as the supervisor of technology. So very, as you know, a very key role in the district, and that has grown. The importance of technology obviously has grown enormously. So she'll be retiring at the end of this academic year. And also the board's going to be asked tonight to approve a equivalency waiver for CUSAC. I think I did try to explain that in the communication, but simply put, I think I mentioned this to you before, they're changing the evaluation of test scores and student achievement beginning next year, not our year for CUSAC. So the thought came out from Trenton that if a school would rather be judged by the new formula, you could do a waiver and get judged that way. Now, again, a critical mind might say, well, then why can't we just do the whole thing new starting now if you can do it with a waiver, but so be it. They need the waiver. I'm asking the board to approve the waiver, but I don't know if we're going to utilize it. We will get our, remember when you approved the DPR, and there were all zeros in the test scores? Because the state populates that, they give us that, and we're going to get those numbers by January 15th. And as long as I'm comfortable with the numbers, I think we'll just keep it as it is, because rather than go through the waiver, which is a whole new process. But if the numbers come out where I think, hey, maybe we should be showing a little better, the waiver gives a different weight measure, right? The new system gives a slightly different weight measure to some of the test assignments. So I wanted the option to pursue that if I thought it was beneficial to the district. Okay? And that's it. That's it for my report right now.
All right, thank you. You answered my one question. Any questions, comments from board members? All right, hearing none, then we'll move on to the report of the president. So I want to thank the board for responding to the board self-evaluation. As of today, we are 9 for 9, which is great, which means we could start the data analysis and write-up, and then we'll go over that during the next board meeting, and I believe we go over that in open session as part of process. And I just wanted to mention quickly that there were, and you'll hear this when the summary comes out, but there are always areas that we can work on to improve, but 4 areas that stood out as the strongest areas I think the board evaluated itself in are teamwork, engagement, preparedness, and support for staff, the superintendent. And that is the type of board that I really enjoy being a part of and working with. It's why I do what I do on here, and hopefully why we all volunteer our time. So thank you again. That's my way of saying thank you again for your belief in me as president, and very happy that we have Mr. Mazzone serving as an outstanding vice president as well. As Mr. Hurley said, board committee assignments will be forthcoming in the next couple of days. I spoke to everyone before January just to get a sense of things. So now that I'm handing off that information to myself, we can move forward and try to finalize that. So in the next few days, you'll get an email with those assignments. I'd also just wanted to echo in terms of Mrs. O'Donnell's retirement, just express gratitude. And as Mr. Hurley said, there will be more opportunities to do that. As board members, we don't get to know all of the staff in the district that well, but having served as one of the leads for RSA negotiations a few years ago, she did a presentation for the board on state of technology and thoughts, and she's really done a wonderful job and had a huge impact on the district. So congratulations to her. And just to end, I wanted to share that the New Jersey School Boards Association has a board member academy, and they have a certified board member certification process that someone can get a certification if they satisfy all the requirements, which are basically taking at least 20 credits toward professional development of what good governance means and looks like. And I'm excited to say that one of our board members, Mr. James Bogosian, has satisfied all of those requirements and will be recognized at one of the next County School Boards Association meetings, which will be either hybrid or virtual, in case anyone wants to go on there. So congratulations.
Thank you.
That's it for my report.
Before we go on to the agenda,
Yep.
right? Traditionally, we read the
Oh, yes.
ethics, right?
Just made a note for Andy at the end.
Okay, so I think we could do that, and then remember, you are all supposed to sign this and let Mr. Rutherford have it when you're done. So I think we started usually with Mrs. Jones, right? And then worked our way around the room.
Yep.
Each read one, and then see. I think there'll be one or two left over.
A, I will uphold and enforce all laws, rules, and regulations of the State Board of Education and court orders pertaining to schools. Desired changes shall be brought about only through legal and ethical procedures.
B, I will make decisions in terms of the educational welfare of children and will seek to develop and maintain public schools that meet the individual needs of all children regardless of their ability, race, creed, sex, or social standing.
I'll confine my board actions to policymaking, planning, and appraisal. I will help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who will be affected by them.
I will carry out my responsibility not to administer the schools, but together with my fellow board members, to see that they are well run.
I will oh, sorry, go
Do I
ahead.
go? Yeah, sure.
Sorry,
E,
go.
I will carry out, I will recognize that authority rests with the Board of Education and will make no personal promises nor take any private action that may compromise the board.
I will refuse to surrender my independent judgment to special interest or partisan politic groups, or to use the schools for personal gain or for the gain of friends.
I will hold confidential all matters pertaining to the schools which, if disclosed, would needlessly injure individuals or the schools. In all other matters, I will provide accurate information and, in concert with my fellow board members, interpret to the staff the aspirations of the community for its school.
H, I will vote to appoint the best qualified personnel available after consideration of the recommendation of the Chief Administrative Officer.
I will support and protect school personnel and proper performance of their duties.
J, I will refer all complaints to the Chief Administrative Officer and will act on the complaints at public meetings only after failure of an administrative solution.
Thank you. So if you can sign those and before you leave, let Mr. Rutherford have them. I just want to comment on that. I brag on this board a lot with my colleagues, and I hear a lot of positive things that people, based on what I've told them, what they've heard and what they've seen about how this board operates. And I really do think, as someone who deals with a lot of other superintendents, not only now, even outside this county, I can tell you that this is how a board should operate. I hate to say maybe a little unique. We shouldn't be. We should be the norm. But I think we could do a roadshow and maybe do some professional development for how a board should operate. Because this code of ethics that you just read, you all follow it. You all operate that way. And that's why, I'm still working at 100, because it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to work with all of you. So thank you for that. 98. I'm rounding up.
I
Ms.
just like
Jones?
to add to that, we are probably the best board in New Jersey. I don't know any other board that can go through meeting and meeting and not have any conflicts at all. And I have been on the executive board for 13 years. I've gone to numerous conferences. There were always, when they used to have a great course, it was called Advanced Boardsmanship. And they would give scenarios of what's actually happened at other boards. And like, I in the beginning, this is back in the 80s when I was on, I was appalled at that point. But be assured, we are probably the best board in the state of New Jersey.
Wow. Well, hearing that from you, Mrs. Jones, and Mr. Hurley means a lot, So thank you. Thank you for sharing that. All right,
You
going.
already know we got the greatest superintendent.
I have the papers to prove it. I can show you. I can show you the plaque.
Where's it gonna go now? Do we decide?
What's that?
I was talking about the one I have already.
Is the plaque gonna go in the
Oh, yeah,
hall?
we have to
Decide
decide
that.
about that.
Yeah,
I still say it should be.
got to put it
We-
on Mr. Morano's eye level.
We-
Yeah.
we-
It should have been a wrestling belt. It really should have.
Yeah, I like that better.
I think we talked about in the hallway
By the principals.
by the principal's office.
Yeah, that's a good place.
But yeah, we'll work on that in ceremony and process.
Good.
All right, at 7:23 p.m., we're going to open the meeting to the public. And since there is no one here from the public this evening, we're going to close the meeting at 7:23 p.m. and turn to new business where there is action to be taken. We'll begin with personnel. Ms. Cole.
Good evening and a happy new year. Personnel did not meet this month, and we have 13 motions tonight to put forward at the recommendation of the superintendent. Number one, to accept the retirement of Barbara O'Donnell, Supervisor of Computer Technology and Business Education for the Rutherford School District with regret, effective July 1st, 2025. Number 2 is the resignation of a lunch monitor at Lincoln School. Number 3 is to rescind the following as nurses for the Bulldog Care Program as listed. Number 4, to approve the following as nurses for the Bulldog Care Program as listed. Number 5 and 6 is the approval of home instructors for the Rutherford School District. Number 7 is to approve the payback of sick days to retirees as listed. Number 8 is to approve the payback of vacation days to retirees as listed. Number 9, to approve the following substitute teachers as listed. Number 10, to approve the following substitute teacher assistants as listed. Number 11, to approve the following observation as listed. Number 12, to approve the following travel reimbursements as listed. And number 13 is to approve a stipend for a half-year course to the following people as listed.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments from board members? Hearing none, Mrs. Cole, do you want to move this?
I'd like to move motions 1 to 13 under personnel.
All right, we have a second. Mr. Conti, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move to curriculum and instruction. Ms. Jones.
Thank you. We did not have a curriculum and instruction meeting, and tonight there are 5 motions put forth by the superintendent. 1, New Jersey CUSAC's 21-22 district performance review, as Mr. Hurley explained. 2, out-of-district placements. 3, field trips, now totally 104. 4, overnight trip for the Festival of the Rutherford High School Concert Choir and Concert Band. And home instruction is number 5 for 2 students.
All right, thank you. Questions or comments?
I'm not sure why that came out as 21-22,
Yeah.
but Mr. Whitford, can you change that for the minutes to be the 24-25? So it's the 24-25 review to align with the 25-26.
All right, Ms. Jones, do you want to move those?
I move resolutions 1 through 5.
All right, do we have a second? Mr. Mazzone, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Alati.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, we'll move now to finance. Mr. Bogosian.
We did not have a Finance Committee meeting since our last full board meeting. Tonight on the agenda, we have 5 motions to consider. Number 1 is the routine approval of bills. Number 2 is to approve the renewal of the contract with Brown & Brown to serve as our health insurance broker of record. Number 3 is a travel reimbursement pass-through for the principal of St. Mary's High School. Number 4 is to appoint Fogarty and Hara to serve as the board attorneys until the next organization meeting. And number 5 is to fund the acquisition of switches and other technology needs through a 5-year lease purchase financing agreement.
All right. You want to talk a little bit about number 5?
Mr. Whitford?
Sure. So to elaborate on number 5, the lease purchase, that is the infrastructure update to our Wi-Fi network, as well as some technology equipment purchases, such as student Chromebooks. Those purchases have actually already been made, been approved by the board. This approval is for the financing for it. So we're stretching that payment over a 5-year term with the board's approved bank, BCB Bank, for time, availability, and rate, and other aspects. They were the most advantageous for the board to take on. So that, again, that purchase is lumping a number of technology needs into a 5-year payment rather than all one hit to the budget this year.
So what we approved before was, this is just approving the the bank stuff, correct?
The financing for
Yeah,
it.
got it.
Yep. The actual purchase of the products
Yeah.
have already been approved.
Yeah, we
and they were
approved
done
that
over the
previously.
summer.
Okay.
All right. Other questions? Mr. Sprayberry?
The 2% is unheard of, so.
No, 2%
Yeah.
over the CD rate,
Oh, it's,
so it's not on
it's not.
When I saw that, I was like, oh. And then I was,
Fantastic. Yeah. How do I get that?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good, but it's not unheard of.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Mr. Bogosian, you want to move those?
I'd like to move motions 1 through 5 under finance.
All right, do we have a second? Mrs. Cole, any last questions or comments? Hearing none, Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Lottie.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on now to policy. Mr. Healy.
Yes, we did not have a committee meeting since our last board meeting, and there are no resolutions for this meeting.
Okay, thank you. We'll move on then to buildings and grounds. Mr. Sprayberry.
Yes, we did not have a meeting prior to this. Happy New Year, everybody. And we have one motion for the ESC&J bid threshold. I'd like to approve $44,000, and I'd like to put that motion up for approval as per the superintendent.
Okay. Questions?
To elaborate on this one, the board approved a very similar resolution for a different vendor. Anytime that a vendor, we purchase through a vendor that's through a co-op, if it's a state contract or a local cooperative, that cooperative goes out to bid for a product or service rather than the school district themselves. It allows efficiency with time, and they basically consolidate that bid process for all school districts in the state of New Jersey. With that, we don't have to go out to bid for it, but if we do award something cumulatively or a one-time purchase over $44,000, which is my bid threshold, we should have a board resolution to allow us, or to at least acknowledge that we're making a purchase over the bid threshold without going out to bid. Still following all purchasing laws to do so, but this is just making sure the board recognizes that we are doing, basically not circumventing, but using a different aspect of the purchasing law rather than going out to bid. So from time to time throughout the year, you may see this similar resolution for different vendors if we're using a co-op or state contract rather than a full sealed bid.
Thank you for the explanation. Any other questions? All right, hearing none. Mr. Sprayberry, you want to move those?
Yes,
That?
I'd like to move that one motion, please.
All right, we have a second. Mr. Bogosian, any last questions or comments? Hearing none. Mr. Whitford, please take roll.
Mr. Bogosian,
Yes.
Mrs. Cole,
Yes.
Mr. Conti,
Yes.
Mr. Healy,
Yes.
Mrs. Jones,
Yes.
Mr. Maison,
Yes.
Dr. Racine,
Yes.
Mr. Sprayberry,
Yes.
Dr. Lottie.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
All right, thank you. We'll move on then to old business. Any old business, Mrs. Jones?
December is lots of concerts, and Mr. Fogno is here taking our meeting tonight, and his concert for the 4th, 5th, and 6th grade at Pierpont School was wonderful. As was the concert, and I believe it was on the 12th, for the high school, where I could hear Chris Conti play his tuba, and I was longing to hear David on his drums because he can't do this in the fall. He's playing football, so I'll have to catch him in another one in the spring. Where my position was that I couldn't see him. Now, did I miss anybody? Yes, Phoebe in the concert choir under Trisha Blanchard. She's excellent too. I love them. I love the concerts. They do a great job with them, and I look forward to them.
Yeah.
They were fantastic. They just need more tuba.
Oh, but it's what I can hear. I can hear her.
I'm just saying. Just saying. Got a.
Awesome. Mr. Haley?
Yes, I attended the New Jersey School Board Association Delegate Assembly, Saturday, December 7th. And I distributed notes to everyone, if you can look on the side of any of the issues that were presented and included. One was not. One of the items that would affect us just operationally, they proposed and it passed that we can use electronic media in lieu of publication of physical newspapers of the meeting notices. So I would assume Mr. Herbert will come through the policies.
In fact, that's one of the things that we're looking at.
That's it.
All right, thank you.
I would still request that Matt telegraph, as Joe
Basically
was
where it
doing.
is, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Since the Star Ledger officially ended their physical publications.
Well, not yet.
Not
That's,
yet?
it's, I think February 1st, but
The state is creating a policy to allow us not to have to put it in a physical newspaper for a certain amount of time until they create a true law to come up with electronic communications rather than putting it in the physical newspaper. So
Any other old business?
the pigeon won't make it to your house next time.
Nice.
A
Ms.
correction
Jones?
to my report, I said Chris Conte, I meant Charlie Conte.
You did?
you didn't play?
I wish. Wish.
All right, we're going to move on to legislative update. Ms. Jones, anything for us?
Yeah, one. This is Senate Bill 3860, introduced November 18th, 2024, by Declan O'Scanlan, who is Republican. Requires school districts' capital project referendums to be voted on at a primary or general elections for certain municipal or special elections. Now, when I first read that, I said, okay, so now we got ours done in September, so it was not a general, it was not a primary. But municipal or special elections is still a school. So we could, in other words, it could have been done at, well, no, we're different now. We're doing it as November. I was just surprised. You can't, can you have your own then, or are you saying it can only be done at primary and,
I didn't read the law,
General.
so I don't, but I mean, that's only just been put forward, right? As in, they are, you know, the one thing that is probably going to happen is, it may have already happened, I haven't seen whether the governor signed it or not, changing the primary this year from June 3rd to June 10th. Because it's a holiday, a Jewish holiday, not one of the major holidays, but nonetheless a Jewish holiday on June 3rd, and there was some concern about having a primary on a day of religious holiday. So I think it's on his desk to sign. Now, the reason why that's important for us is because the last couple of years we've closed school for students on the primary day and ran a professional development day. So if, in fact, that does change, then we'll probably have to go into this year's calendar and change it, because that's the whole reason why we do it, you know, primary. But I haven't heard that was signed yet, but that's pending. There has been also a lot of discussion about where to put different elections, special elections, school elections. As you know, referendum have their own calendar they
Right.
follow. Right. So we're not going to worry about a referendum, though, for a while. Yeah. When I'm 102 and I'm not here anymore.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jones. So at 7:38, we're going to open the meeting to the public. And at 7:38, we are going to close the meeting to the public. We do not have a need for an executive session, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Mr. Sprayberry, seconded by Mr. Mazzone. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned.
Thank you, everybody.
Sweet.